the Birmingham Wolves game now and again.
Only when there was a break in play. I mean, no disrespect to those two teams. It was a good English Cup tie, first half, but it's different quality, different thing altogether. Excuse me.
That's my voice. I've got the cold. I've got the Ronnie Ronnie cold.
That bloke who loves us coughing and spluttering, puts it on YouTube. He's going to love this.
I'm not coughing. It's just.
Excuse me. I'm going to use the cough button.
Go on, then go for it. Thank you. I'm going a bit Lee Marvin of the voice, but Ronnie was struggling this morning. But anyway, we soldier on.
The talkSPORT Clips of the Week.
Now, if you listen to the show on a regular basis, when Andy or myself on we leave the clips of the week. But we are building them up, so keep them coming. If you are hearing clips on talkSPORT, please do send them in to us at the usual channels. I'll give you all the details in a moment. So we've decided to do an Alan Brazil special. We hoped to bring it to you last week. We had a few issues. We brought you about 3 or 4, but we've even replaced them. So you've got a fresh batch completely.
Oh,
so here we go, and let's hope for the best. We'll try and bring you some of Alan's finest work from over the years. Some you would have heard many times, maybe a few you'd completely forgotten about. And we start with Alan's interpretation of a famous old radio programme.
Now, if you haven't heard Desert Island Disc before, it involves asking a public figure or celebrity what 8 songs, which one book, and what accessory they would want to take with them if they're sent to Dubai.
Not necessarily Dubai. Not necessarily Dubai.
You pick it up at the airport, do you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're not really going to... I mean, you can go anywhere. You can get the monorail into town, can't you, and have a nice meal? It's not really a desert island.
There's a lot of stuff there.
There is. You can do what you like.
Here's Alan with a revelation about former Arsenal goalkeeper Bob Wilson.
Bob, I love Bob Wilson.
Yeah,
lovely lady as well.
I see Bob on a regular basis. I never knew.
Well,
so,
you never know.
Now, this is Alan with possibly the most ridiculous question ever asked on talkSPORT.
Which abbey is Cromwell buried at? Is he buried in Westminster Abbey, or is he buried in Abbey Titmus?
I think a little bit of devilment from the production staff. They probably thought he wouldn't read that out loud. He'd realise and check himself.
Buried in Abbey Titmus.
Abbey Titmus. No, he didn't. I think it was A, by the way.
That was a funny one.
Next.
We all know Mr. Brazil loves to tipple now and again, and he's obviously got it on his mind whilst talking to David Ginola.
Yeah.
Going to Sydney would be a nice trip,
like
a wonderful trip.
Lovely
going
seafood.
to Australia.
Nice
Sydney,
wine.
But Australia.
Wine.
He likes wine. Wine.
Like an alarm.
Wine. It's a good effect, that. This is Alien's brilliant rendition of the Milky Bar Kid.
I love the Conrad Allen. The Milky Bar Kid is tough and strong.
Yeah. Strong and tough, isn't it?
Because it's got to rhyme with good enough.
Good enough, that's right. Okay, tough and strong, and only the best if it doesn't quite work, does it?
Go for long.
Yeah.
And we were worried to hear Alan came out with this recently.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Ray Palin and Ford. I've taken loads of cocaine.
Blimey. Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing that, Alan. Of course, I think it was a quote from a newspaper involving a famous sports person at the time. I don't think Alan was making a bold admission on national radio.
But just using it as a platform or an intervention.
I don't think so, no. Now, we know Alan isn't sometimes maybe he's not as well informed as he'd like to be when it comes to motorsport.
We speak to former F1 driver Bruno Senna, who's now racing in Formula... What's that, Formula E? What's Formula E? Never heard of that, to be honest. Sure, that's not a misprint.
No, it's Formula E. Yeah. Electric cars, Al.
I wouldn't want Alan as my designated driver.
So what's next?
Here we have a demonstration of Alan's considerate behaviour when holidaying on the continent.
The French rugby team's turbulent stay in Croydon continued tonight as the team bus was given a parking ticket for parking at a bus stop while the players ate dinner. So what? Do what we do in France when I get a ticket or a speeding fine. You don't pay it, do you? Who cares? I get flashed all the way down the motorway going the Alps. Who cares?
Fantastic. Hands across the water there. Alan Brazil. Bit of entente cordiale. Here we find Alan stuck on a loop.
Can an improving Tiger Woods make an impact at the US PGA?
I don't know my exact ranking right now. I know I'm in the 200s somewhere. But as far as paying attention to it, no. I'm just trying to get better.
Meanwhile, can an improving Tiger Woods make an impact at the US PGA?
There's a glitch. There's a glitch.
The thing is, that could go on for years, couldn't it?
yeah.
Because then you play the clip again, then Alan does the line again.
Alan's back.
10 years later, we all go home.
And this is Alan's attempt to read out a text from a listener.
Yeah.
Once met Gloria Hungerford, got a kiss. Bit too much makeup, though, for me. Up the arse says Donut Dave. Oh, come on, Dave. Whoa. Lovely Gloria.
It was an Arsenal fan, of course, but it's a bit unfortunate. Somebody should have read that for him first, really.
So.
Edit as you go. Edit as you go.
Oh, dear.
So, is this me? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's you.
Yes. Now, he does struggle occasionally. He does struggle with the pronunciation of certain names, and this was Greek, I think he struggled with.
Portugal take on Greece in the big opener. Now let's get a Greek point of view from the Greek daily newspaper Eleftheris Typos. Goodness me, I hope I pronounced that right. And let's say a very good morning to next guest, George Georgia Kapopoulos. George, I'm sorry, I'm struggling with. I always have struggled with Greek names. George, good morning.
Good morning. You didn't do too badly, actually.
George was very nice then, wasn't he?
George, a very understanding
lovely.
George, hold on. This is the bit I like. Oh, hold on. Please.
The struggle continues.
Yeah.
Oh, good. As he tries to read out the latest edition in the Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
This highly anticipated movie is Warner Brothers' sequel to Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa.
Rocky in Bilbao, which he goes to Spain to fight in Bilbao. We all remember that. Last of the Rocky films.
Exactly, Bilbao.
Yeah, and now for his best ever impression of Sylvester the Cat.
Russell, question 2. Which ocean goes to the deepest depth?
Deepest depth. That's right.
Fucking death. Here we see a more caring side to Mr. Brazil.
Alvin here with us, with Ronnie and I, right through to 10 o'clock, taking your calls, 08717 223344, your texts and emails. Travel next. Jaffa cake, anyone?
Jaffa cake?
Anyone?
Handing round Jaffa cake, anyone?
That's lovely.
It's like a line from a sort of Priestley, isn't it? It's beautiful. Why don't you give us the next one, Charlie, and I'll do the last one.
If I wanted to phone talkSPORT up, what was the number again, Alan?
Give us a call if you want, 0870, I've not done the phone line for ages, 807 223344, 8074 22, 08717.
Just numbers.
He's not in
Just numbers.
He's not in the chat line business.
I won
Alan.
the lottery that week when I did that.
One of those late night ones. 50, 50, 50. Alan just in a tank top.
What a thought.
A muscle vest.
3 o'clock in the morning on ITV. Come on, phone in. And finally, it's an all-time TalkSport classic, the one that people always say is among their favourite clips. It is Mr. Brazil, Mr. Parry, the then son, TV reviewer, Gary Bushell, and here they are in action.
Been a bit of a fraud today.
Why?
Because I wasn't watching any TV last night. I was at the filming of the BAFTA tribute for Bob Monkhouse over at the BBC.
Is that right? But that was a bit of fun.
Oh, there were some really nice contributions from a lot of good people, including some of the best of the younger comics around now. You like Jack Dee, Jimmy Carr, Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
And the clips were absolutely sensational. They got all his greatest one-liners, his acting roles, nostalgia by the bucket. I mean, you forget he was in things like Carry On Sergeant, and as well as...
Well, many people, Gary, forget that he's one of the greatest stand-up comics you've ever seen. I saw him years ago when I was still a reporter in Chester, and at the time we only knew him as the host of the Golden Shot or whatever, you know?
I tell you what, he's got a great... if he has to, he can do a blue version as well, which is meant to be fantastic.
Oh, yes. In fact, you can get those on video still, on DVD probably now. This show goes out the weekend after next on BBC One. You're absolutely right. You're left with no doubt that Monkhouse was a giant.
Yeah, sure. Oh, no, absolutely.
Gary, what about Bob's health now?
He died at Christmas.
I think Mr. Brazil was just looking a little bit back there rather than forward. You're absolutely right.
I heard two different versions of it, to be honest.
The terrible thing
two
was
different versions, I was told.
Somebody was going around saying Bob was still alive. I'd like to think... I never knew the man, but I'd like to think Bob would have found that funny.
He would have found that funny.
Well, what a great mate.
What's his... I'd like to go peacefully in my sleep. Unlike my... What's
you forgot his gag. Don't ruin Bob's gags.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, Mr. Parry trying to get him out of trouble. That's the mark of a mate, isn't it? Stepping in to
dug him out there. Dug him out.
Two different stories. So there we are, the best of Big Alan. He's back on Monday morning at 6 a.m, of course, here on TalkSport. Always a fine listen. And we'll have another little special for you. We're not quite sure what it'll be yet. If you want to have a listen back to those at your... they've kind of put some sort of dummy text into it, you know. So it's kind of a work in progress. But it's quite impressive, isn't it? Do you want to hear it?
I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
Morning, welcome to the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast with me, Alan Brazil, and Ford. Coming up shortly, Ray Wilkins looks ahead to the big game. Big game, by the way. Big game between Roma and Real Madrid. We'll be looking back, of course, on Chelsea's trip to PSG. So unlucky, Ray. So unlucky. And we'll look at their next 5 games. It's all happening here in Alan Brazil on breakfast.
Impressive, isn't it?
I love the way it's programmed to look at the next 5 games, exactly like the real thing.
Can't look at 6, can't look at 4. It gets you at 5 to 6.